doing a Family Matters reboot in the way they did a Full House reboot, and you said, I don't want to be a...
I embrace the TGIF legacy, but I'm also careful to acknowledge that TGIF was a sinking ship. You cannot make shows like that right now.
Right.
Fuller House, I feel like they got away with it because they have a schmaltzy kind of vanilla thing that they do that's very Hallmarkish, to be quite honest, and it benefits Candace, and that's wonderful. Same brand of humor. So
good for you
so
for knowing that.
And I was not offered a direct reboot. I was offered a blind contract with no script and half the pay that I made leaving the show, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, wait, what do you mean? I don't get to meet any producers. I don't get to see a script. You know, I'm not interested in that. If I touch anything that's associated with Family Matters.
Y'all hold up. Did you know the drama behind Family Matters is wilder than anything we saw on screen? Imagine a reboot pitch that could have flipped everything we knew about the Winslows upside down. And get this, Jaleel White, yes, Mr. Steve Urkel himself had a hand in it. But wait until you hear the jaw-dropping twist that caused the entire idea to crash and burn. Oh, honey, this tea is scorching, so buckle up because we're about to spill it all. So picture this. Jaleel White, the man behind one of TV's most iconic characters, recently opened up about why Family Matters isn't ranked among the top black sitcoms of the 90s. He claimed that shows like Martin and Living Single overshadowed Family Matters because they were seen as hood stories, while Family Matters was deemed too generic. According to Jaleel, the Winslows' middle-class family dynamic wasn't enough to resonate in the same way. But hold up, is that fair? Some fans clapped back hard, arguing that Family Matters lacked authenticity and often felt like it could have featured any family of any race. Oof, the shade. Now here's where it gets even messier. Jaleel didn't just stop at throwing shade. He went on to spill some serious insider tea about a reboot idea that he straight up rejected. And wait for it, it involved turning Laura Winslow into a baby mama. Yes, you heard that right. In the proposed reboot, Laura would return to the Winslow home as a single mom with a child, while Steve would be married to Myra Monkhouse, the woman who loved him unconditionally. Oh, and that child? Yep, the new show would center on Steve and Myra's kid inheriting Steve's Urkelness. But here's the kicker. Jaleel said no. Hard pass. Why? He felt the pitch wasn't groundbreaking enough and low-key reeked of recycled Twitter fan theories. Plus, he wasn't about to let Laura Winslow, a core character, be reduced to a trope that might have clashed with the show's family-friendly vibe. And let's be honest, a network wasn't going to take that kind of risk. Jaleel's decision to turn down the reboot wasn't just about the storyline. He also hinted that during the meeting, he felt the executives were uncomfortable with how much creative power he held. Can you imagine? Steve Urkel's influence was apparently too much for them to handle. And speaking of influence, Jaleel's journey as Urkel wasn't all laughs and suspenders. Behind the scenes, it was a roller coaster. Let's rewind to the 90s, when Family Matters was the go-to Friday night show. Steve Urkel's nerdy antics were a hit, but not everyone loved his character's persistence with Laura, especially the whole
I'm wearing you down, baby.
I'm wearing you down trope. Critics have since pointed out how problematic that dynamic looks today. But back then, it worked, sort of. Then there's the controversy surrounding Myrtle Urkel, Steve's cross-dressing cousin. Jaleel, who was just 14 at the time.
I remember when I did Myrtle Urkel for the first time.
Well, hello there.
And I just remember, again, I get a lot of my enthusiasm from other people's satisfaction. Everybody on set that week was just amazed. I did run into an issue. Joe Marie and Reggie at that time were very sensitive to putting black men in dresses. They heaped that on me. They let me know that I was not doing our race a service by putting on that yellow dress. But everybody has a default. Do you crumble? Do you wilt under pressure? Do you rise? Do you surprise yourself? My default tends to be to take it up a notch. I mean, that evening I felt like a girl. I felt like a girl playing Myrtle Urkel, but I cried like a baby at the end of that tape. I just broke, and I just cried. And this is what's awesome, where you have a great father, you have a good family. And my dad just rose up like a lion and was like, I've watched my son deal with all week to pull out this performance, and he will never play this character again. You got it once, it's done. But he shouldn't have to carry the burden some adults making a child feel bad for playing a girl just in fun.
Revealed he cried after playing Myrtle for the first time. His dad even stepped in, declaring his son would never play the character again. But 5 seasons later, Jaleel, now older and more confident, voluntarily brought Myrtle back to boost the show's dipping ratings. And guess what? Fans loved it, but the experience left Jaleel feeling conflicted about how far he had to go to entertain audiences. Oh, and let's not forget the drama surrounding Judy Winslow, the youngest daughter, who mysteriously disappeared after season 4. Jaleel recently hinted that her firing might have had more to do with behind-the-scenes family issues than anything else. Judy's actress, Jamie Foxworth, didn't mince words either. She accused Jaleel of being a bully and suggested his rising stardom might have contributed to her exit. Whew, the receipts are flying. Fast forward to today, and Family Matters is enjoying a nostalgic revival. According to reports, the show saw a massive increase in streaming numbers during the pandemic. Jaleel himself has moved on to launch his own business ventures, including a line of products called It's Purple, while other cast members are exploring new creative outlets. But the reboot? That remains in the realm of what-ifs. And speaking of the cast, can we talk about how they've each taken such different paths since the show ended? From launching digital platforms to acting in indie films, the Winslow family has grown in ways fans might not have expected. Kelly Shania Williams and Darius McCrary, for example, recently united for a project highlighting independent filmmakers. It's giving evolution, and we love to see it. Meanwhile, Jaleel's reflections on his time as Steve Urkel have brought a new level of depth to his legacy. Sure, he had his struggles with being typecast, but he's used those experiences to mentor younger actors in avoiding the same pitfalls. Who knew Urkel would grow up to be such a visionary? As fans continue to rewatch Family Matters, debates about its place in sitcom history rage on. Was it groundbreaking or just a product of its time? Either way, one thing's for sure: the stories behind the scenes are just as compelling as the ones we saw on screen. So what do you think? Was Jaleel right to reject the reboot? Did the show lose its way by leaning too heavily on Steve Urkel's slapstick humor? And would a modernized Family Matters have worked, or was it doomed to fail from the start? Drop your thoughts below because this story is far from over.